Good afternoon, I'm Jobert Okal, the online editor of The Freeman, and welcome to Season 2 of Power Women, where we get to talk to and feature women who are not afraid to make a difference. We are very lucky today because we are able to bring her out of her office to be in the spotlight. She shies away from the spotlight normally, so we're very glad that she said yes to our invitation. Our special guest in today's episode of Power Women, no less than one of the executives of SM Prime Holdings, the Vice President, Ms. Marissa Fernan. Miss, thank you very much for joining
good
us.
Afternoon,
and welcome to Power Women.
It's my privilege.
And to the Freeman.
It's my privilege to be here.
Thank you very much.
I feel that it's an opportunity to share thoughts and ideas, sentiments this Women's Month.
And absolutely, because I'm sure that our reviewers, both the women and the girls who will be watching this video, will be learning a lot from you.
Well, we hope so.
All right, you've been with SM for quite a long time already. 31 years.
I'm on my 31st year.
Your 31st year, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
What does it take to be an employee of SM, one of the biggest companies in the Philippines and even in the world, that long?
Well, 31 years ago when I joined SM, it wasn't as big a company as it is now. We multitasked. Our jobs were not clearly defined. We just did what we had to do. Over the years, the company has evolved. We've had bigger projects, and I think that the idea of being able to be part of the growth of such a company is what keeps me in SM. No? Plus the openness of management and especially members of the C family to embrace ideas, new things in making the company grow. So SM is really a good, let's say, area wherein we are able to develop people. It's a good breeding ground for future leaders and a good breeding ground for workers that are able to contribute their share to the community.
Opportunities.
Yes,
for
opportunities. Because we basically serve the whole community, no?
Right. Yes.
In many different ways.
Right. Marissa Fernan seems to be synonymous to SM, at least as far as we in Cebu are concerned.
Please don't give me that much credit. Although I started SM, I was the first employee outside Metro Manila. I was by myself, and then after a few months I took on an assistant. Our first office was on top of Banco de Oro in Jones Avenue. I don't know if it's still there. So we were a two-person team and show. And now it has grown. In Cebu City alone, we have almost 300 full-time employees of SM.
31 years, that's not a joke, being in a company. What has been
You're revealing my age.
You of course mentored other employees. What has been the role of women in this growth of SM?
Well, as I've been saying, the retail industry or management of shopping malls is really an ideal working environment for women. No? The needs of the business, the requirements in running a mall is very much like running a household, running your homes. We need to keep the malls always clean. We need to keep everything in order. We need to maintain the peace in the mall, considering that we employ so many other workers. No? I mean, the employees of our tenants, the janitorial services, the security guards, etc., etc. So basically, it's the ideal ground for training people, especially women. over the years, we've seen many positions occupied by women.
Mm.
So it's a growing process. We used to be majority men, no?
Mm.
But the tide has turned. We have surpassed the 50% level. We're now at 66%
Wow.
women.
And I heard it's the same ratio in Cebu, workforce in Cebu and nationwide.
Yes, by coincidence, it's the same ratio. It's the same ratio nationwide, where we have over 5,000 employees. No? And I think it's the same for our affiliates. Like if you go to Banco de Oro, it's mainly women tellers. Isn't it? Same thing with China Bank, our other bank affiliate. No? So I think that's basically characteristic of the group, of the SM group.
I'll go to the general first. What makes a woman effective in what she does? And I'll go to you specifically afterwards. What makes you effective in what you've been doing? Because again, 31 years, not a joke.
Well, I think the woman is able to listen and to feel for others. I mean, it takes a lot of heart to succeed in your work. It's not just counting numbers, writing reports, or even doing statistics. No, I think that in the evolution of how I have grown SM in Cebu and in the Bismin area, it's mainly my ability to listen and to feel with my employees, with our employees, with the customers we serve, with the community in general. That's why I think I will admit it. I am active on Facebook as a lurker. I lurk on Facebook.
Because you need to observe.
Yes, I need to observe. When I'm riding the car, thankfully I have George, our driver. So I'm able to look left, right, observe what stores are opening, how people are entering stores, driving habits, what's being built, that thing. So what's important is that you are mindful of what is happening around you, and more especially in the work environment,
right?
In the workplace.
It's very nice for you to point that out, because that's also one of the values I believe in. The Japanese value of mindfulness of others, very considerate of the people around them. That seems to be one of the characteristics of you as a worker of the company.
Yes, I think so. I think that when your IT guy came to SM yesterday and said our signal was bad, I did not hesitate for a second to say, okay, I'll just go to your studio so that we have better signal and it's uninterrupted. So
thank you very much.
I think that it's a trait that I have developed over the years, and without hesitation, I basically, it's second nature for me to be mindful.
You've seen workers grow. You've mentored many of them, I'm sure. How would you describe the female worker of the day and the woman of today?
Well, the female worker or the woman of today is a very challenged individual. No, I've seen many women. Well, by the way, I come from a family of 6 women and only 3 men, so that by itself has already defined my natural habitat. No, but I've seen my sisters, my nieces, they have been willing to embrace life as it is. I've seen them marrying family life with professional life, juggling between work and the home. And the younger people today are really hands-on as far as their children are concerned. No? And at the same time, they're able to enjoy life as it is. No? I've seen women also being willing to speak up,
right?
No? For themselves as well as for other people, no? To help empower the women of today. So I think a good description of the woman is that today's woman is very flexible. She tries to adjust to circumstances. She tries to adjust to settings. But at the same time, she tries to make herself relevant in today's...
Making her mark.
Yes, making her mark in the community. No? I see that very clearly in my nieces. My nieces are in very non-traditional fields. I have a niece who just loves to dance. And she dances. She teaches dancing. I have a niece who is into the graphics. So she develops the graphic arts. I have a niece who is into some kind of microbiology work that I cannot even understand. So basically,
and these are their own choices.
These are their own choices, and it's not like before na you either become a doctor, a lawyer, a businesswoman, so on and so forth. No? So there is that reality in today's woman.
You grew up in an environment that allowed you to define yourself.
Yes, very much so. Very much.
What's your advice to girls or women who do not grow up in such environments?
Well, I think it's difficult for you to change your parents, okay? But I think that if you assert yourself a little bit, you can allow yourself to be exposed to experiences, to an environment wherein you can develop yourself outside of the home. And I've seen that happen, that when people are slowly developing themselves, you know, a parent's love is always there. The parents will eventually see the changes in their children and will accept those changes. No? I mean, I've seen that happen, and it's often very much part of what we see in movies, in teleseries, and all that. If you cannot get it from your home, then allow yourself other opportunities to go beyond the home. I actually, this is a strategy I used. Since being the firstborn, my parents were very protective of me. I
can understand that.
I passed the UP entrance exam, but I was not allowed to go to UP because it was the height of student activism.
I see, okay.
So we did a compromise. I still went to Manila, but I went to an all-girls school where I stayed in the dormitory run by nuns. But my efforts to change the mindset of my parents did not end there. I was not totally accepting of my circumstances. So secretly, I applied to another co-ed school, the Ateneo. And finally, when I was accepted, I just told my parents, you know, I really think I should move on. This environment is not where I should be. And so as a compromise, I went to the Ateneo, but I still stayed in a dorm run by nuns across the street from the Ateneo. So that's what I'm saying. If you can't change your parents, try to see where you can meet halfway and compromise, yes. And eventually, it was easier for my other sisters to go to UP. Ironically,
you paved the way for them.
I paved the way for them.
So since then, you've been a leader, since way before.
Yes, even in my high school days, I was student council president. I think my dad was really my role model in these leadership roles. And I really like working with people, no? Even at an early age.
Why,
So
Miss? What's with what's with
I
working with
think
people
I've seen it in my parents, especially my dad. His life was really dedicated to service, to extending help to other people. I've seen him as an educator. I saw him when he assisted. He gave free legal aid, not very far from here. I think in the Caritas office here. So you know, you get ideas and you sort of feel like it's something you'd like to do, no? So I think for in being a leader, I was really inspired by my father.
What is Marissa Fernan's brand of leadership?
Well, I like to think that, and I don't know if my people will agree with it, but I like to be an inspiring leader. I'm not autocratic. I like to throw something at people and then make them think about it on their own and realize what it is that they need to do. I don't like to tell people all the time now. I mean, sometimes I have a tendency to tell people, but I want people to discover for themselves, no? What their potential is. It's really empowering people, no? Especially women. So I think I would like to be an inspiring leader.
Is it difficult to be a woman and holding a crucial leadership point at the same time?
Actually, our environment in SM does not make it that difficult. And I think many of our managers, most of whom I have interviewed, so even at the start, I've had a relationship with them. Most managers were taken in because they had the potential of imbibing the culture of the company. So it's not really been that difficult. I mean, working for SM has been one joyous blessing, and that's why I'm here for 31 years.
That's right. Who do you look up to, aside from your father, perhaps your parents? Who do you look up to in the area of service and leadership?
Well, I have to pay tribute. No? I am a very strong believer of the power of God and the Lord. No? I feel that everything that I have, all the gifts that I have, every blessing that comes my way is from the divine, no? In a way. I mean, I've helped it a lot. Some of my friends, my family have helped it a lot. But I owe everything I am to Him, most importantly. Going back on earth, I feel that actually Mr. Henry C. and the C family have been an inspiration to me. And it's this inspiration from the family that allows me to stay year after year after year and helping them grow the company, no? And I have seen it really develop over the years. In recent years, the family has taken on an advocacy of work-life balance. It has committed resources and people. We have a full-time manager just attending to work-life balance programs. And then we have champions in every area that ensure that all of these work-life balance initiatives come to fruition.
Can you tell us a bit about that principle of SM, the work-life balance principle? What initiatives exactly do you implement?
Well, for instance, simple things. Well, the big thing that had impact directly on people is in our employees is the 5-day work week. I mean, we used to work 6 days a week, almost for many of us 7 days a week. I think the first 2 years I worked 7 days a week. And so the 5-day work week was implemented, we just work longer hours every day,
Mm.
our people. And so they had the weekend, I mean, or at least 2 days off, no? Because some people have to work weekends. So that allowed them more time with family and more time to do other things, no? Simple things like read a book or just go swimming or whatever. Not only that, as a support to this, we were also given work-life balance activities. No? We were encouraged to help SM Foundation in their outreach programs. We usually adopt a school for Brigada Escuela, the one before the school year. You help prepare, that sort of thing ba? Community outreach. So that it's not just work. And there are other, maybe smaller things, but the important thing is management with the work-life balance team has started to listen to the needs of the employees. And it's continuing. It's ongoing, and it's working. I think our retention rate is better than in the past, and basically, I can say most of my managers have stayed over the years. So many leave SM for very legitimate reasons, like going abroad. Or parents want them to work in the business, so on and so forth. No? So it really helps to have something like that. No?
There is a story that you would want to share with us, a story that made you rediscover that you actually agree with the same principle with this girl. We are here on earth to be instruments of God's grace, God's love.
God's love, yes. I was just going through Facebook the last few days, and I came across this story of her name is Annalisa Leonor Balares, and the title of the story is "Growing Up Poor in Forest Park Inspired this Harvard graduate to help create an equal future for all." Annalisa is from Leyte. Her parents came to Manila to work as domestics. I mean, as a driver and as a helper. Her mother was a household helper for a prominent American family in Forbes Park. And what was nice was the family also took in the family of the driver and the helper. And so Annalisa went to a public elementary school nearby, and at that point she already saw the disparity between where she was living and the people that she had to go to school with. Anyway, so the consciousness was already there, and then she proceeded to Manila Science High School, where she got a scholarship. She graduated, I think, as valedictorian, became the how do you call it? The student city mayor of Manila. That kind of those leadership roles. And eventually, the American family helped her get a scholarship in one of the they call that Seven Sisters schools in the East Coast, Mount Holyoke in Massachusetts. If you have prestigious schools for boys, Mount Holyoke is one of the prestigious schools for women. After graduating from that school, she was able to enter Harvard Business School, again on a scholarship. And while she was in Harvard, she started this advocacy called Women's Fear. And in the last 10 years, what she has been doing is coming up with programs that promote the welfare of women all over the world. And in fact, a couple of years back, she was chosen at the World Economic Forum as one of the young global leaders. This year, the article I read is this year she has decided to come home and go specifically back to her hometown of Leyte, wherein she's trying to develop programs that will enhance the women's growth in that environment. But as I was saying, that going through her story and going through facts about the World Economic Forum, I was so delighted to see that in terms of gender parity, in the 2018 report of the World Economic Forum, the Philippines was the only country in Asia that ranked top 10 in terms of advancing gender parity. In fact, we ranked number 8.
Which is very good news.
Which is very good news for women. I mean, I think, because we've had women leaders, both in government and in the private sector, this agenda for women has been advanced. No? I mean, I think a great breakthrough is the passing of the Magna Carta for women in 2009, I think. It's RA 9710 something. You see, you made me research on advances, because these things you take for granted because your environment is so comfortable.
Yes.
Women are so accepted. So you keep on forgetting who were the women years ago who made this all possible for us, diba?
Yes.
So it's good that I have this interview, then I have to go back and check what it is that, government and other NGOs have done to make things happen for women.
Yeah. Going back to the story, what made it resonate with you?
Well, number one, it's very close to me because actually I don't like to announce this in public, but I have the family of our cook staying in our house now. And I'm happy to say that her eldest daughter, the eldest daughter of our cook, just graduated from St. Teresa's College, Cebu, through the help of our family. And she also just passed the teacher's licensing exam. So, when I went to her graduation, I felt like, this is going to be a game changer for the family. Basically, that's why when I read this, and I said, can you imagine the opportunities that will open up for her family now that she is able to help her younger brothers and sisters get the kind of career they want. I've seen it happen in another friend's family. She also had the family of her drivers stay in her place, and she helped the children. One child is a nurse, and the other child is now a Marine, an officer in a boat. And in fact, this I find so funny. The Marine guy, he's moved up the ranks so fast that he was able to buy an SUV.
Wow.
Which he is parking at the house of my friend. And since my friend has a car, when it floods, he allows his father, the driver, to bring the señorita around in his SUV.
In his SUV.
Diba? I mean, such nice stories.
Yes,
and then the other thing that resonated with me is really how she attributed the power of the divine. That everything that she is, that she has become, she also wants to give credit to God. I've always told people when I do things for them, I said, don't really thank me. I am just an instrument of God's love on earth. So many things we are recipients of God's love. Then many times we need to pay it forward. No?
Mm.
That is our role in life.
Where does this value come from?
Paying it forward? Well, I think it's the environment that I grew up with. I one time it was, I think, Mother's Day or Father's Day or whatever. I was in Sacred Heart Church. I don't know, some of you know Father Louis Punsalan, who was in San Carlos for a long time. He was doing the sermon. He was doing, I mean, he said the mass, and I happened to sit in the front pews. So I guess he wasn't in the mood to do a sermon that day. So he said, instead of my sermon, can I ask one of my friends to come up and share something about her parents? And he happened to see me and told me. So I relayed to the congregation the story of how my parents allowed us to grow in an environment where everybody was equal, and equal opportunities. And so one time I told my parents I really wanted a bike. No one in the family had a bike, and all my friends had a bike. And my father said, you know, before you ask for anything more, or even in the future, always make sure that what you ask for, I can give to your 8 other brothers and sisters. And that was really my, it struck me as, oh yeah, no, that's right. How can I have more than my siblings? How can I be more privileged than other people? I think that is where I also had the drive to really earn what I now have, work for a living, do things right, and do it for the right reasons. I mean, such a small incident, but it has left imprint in my life that will always carry me in everything I do. So, very simple lesson, but that I got from my parents.
Very simple yet valuable
Yes,
lesson.
valuable. You know how certain things just have an imprint in your mind through the years.
Right. Miss Marissa, times have changed. Perhaps some realities have changed. What challenges do women still face today, do you think?
Well, we've seen in many cultures, they are not that open to women, no? I mean, we have seen non-acceptance. There are even cultures where women can't vote, women can't drive, women can't run for public office, women don't have equal opportunities as far as economic advancement are concerned. So these are still the challenges, and while we're here in the Philippines, we may take it for granted because we're high on the gender equality range. There is still so much in the world that needs to be done so that women are on equal footing as men. No? And I have read that there are several reasons why. I mean, there are several countries wherein, like, economic parity is still way on the lower scale. Political empowerment is you hardly have women leaders, abroad. But we're lucky, like other industrialized nations, we in the Philippines are probably far from that now. So the challenges remain, and I can understand why this lady, the lady who went to Harvard,
Has chosen to come home.
also, but has chosen also to go to other places first.
Alright, okay.
Diba? I mean, maybe in our case, it's the rural areas that need a little bit more work. No? But the urbanized areas have already, I think, embraced women. But, so I said, there's still a lot of work to be done all over the world.
What is your hope for the women of Cebu in particular?
Well, I think that the women of Cebu, I'm hoping would have more opportunities, no, to be able to achieve economic independence. I'm hoping that we have less mothers who have to go abroad to work, to give their children good education, a good home. I'm hoping that not only the gender gap, but the economic gap that exists between those who have and those who have less. No? So that's why stories of house help drivers having successful children, you know, like the story of that farmer whose son went to Harvard, that driver, the jeepney driver the other day in the newspaper, summa cum laude, the son,
Yes.
you know, those really warm my heart because it takes very much to get to where they are now, no?
That's right.
I mean, they live in one-room houses, so how do you study in a one-room house? So you need to equip, like when I sent this daughter of our cook, I made sure she had a laptop. She had access to Wi-Fi. I mean, how was she going to study, no? So sometimes I would just smile because her other classmates who were also scholars, no, of STC, because I had the scholarship foundation in STC, would come to the house because we had Wi-Fi. They do their project there. So
Now you're helping more, even more.
yeah, well, yeah, it was a nice thing to see.
Mm.
I mean, in our own little way, no. I mean, but you see, there are still challenges.
What are you most proud of as a career woman?
Well, I am proud of the people I have helped. People like your friend here, RJ, our PR regional head. I am most proud of how they have become, how I have nurtured them through the years, and how they have become friends. And for me, the most important thing is that the relationships, no, parang you're consistent, consistent in how you mentor them until you see. I mean, of course, at one point it will be time for me to retire, but I can look back and see all of these managers that we have mentored through the years, and I'm just satisfied. I am happy with that. I am also proud that as the eldest in the family, I hope that I have been a good leader for my siblings, and that I have put priorities in my life that are in place now. I value my family, my friendships, the work that I do, and I'm very thankful for the work that I have. And I'm very thankful for the kind of people that we have nurtured through the years in the workplace.
Well, I'm already learning a lot from you today. Miss Marissa, my final question for you. What is your message to the men watching?
The men. Well, what would life be without men? So I think that men have a very important role in our lives. Although it's funny that it should come from someone who's not married, but I feel that there are many things men can do that we can't do. For instance, in my case, I can't change a tire. So that's how I like to know. I think that men do have their roles in our lives. I mean, if I did not have my father, what role model would I have had? Yeah, so there's a place for everyone in life, no? And men have an equally important role in the lives of women.
Ms. Marissa, Fernan, thank you so much for joining us. We are very glad to have you
Thank
with
you.
us today. Our guest in today's episode of Power Women, a leader, a woman, and an inspiration to many, the Vice President of SM Prime Holdings Incorporated, Marissa Fernan. And Join us again next time as we continue to pay tribute to women who are not afraid to make a difference. I'm Jobert Akal, the online editor of the Free Man, and this is Power Women Season 2.